Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Hilary, and we are Marketing Moms Trinidad. Today, Bernie is unavailable to be with us because of a bad internet connection, but we are still bringing our broadcast to you live from Trinidad and Tobago. We've been having quite a few challenges down here. But today's topic, as you would have seen, it may be swinging you for a little curveball because you're probably wondering, what does this have to do with marketing? Well, as you remember, we've been this month we've been touching base using Robert Kiyosaki's book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in one of those, if you've read the book by now, because we've been mentioning it and referring you to it so many times, we hope that you went and you picked it up. But you would remember that in that book, he spoke about, how his father, his poor dad, you remember he had a rich dad and a poor dad, and his poor dad was very focused on getting an education and getting specialized and getting a good job, right? But in contrast to his rich dad, who at this time I can't remember if he even had that higher education, but whatever education he did have, he applied it. And that is something that we want to talk to you about today, that having a professional degree or professional job doesn't necessarily translate to the same type of lifestyle, the professional lifestyle. So for many of us, especially young people like myself who are not 50 yet, we would have grown up in an age where television shows us, all of these professional people, lawyers, doctors, they're going out to restaurants, they're having, fancy dinners and everything. But the reality is most of those professional lifestyle people didn't have a family, right? It was me, myself, and I. So that when you are trying to follow a certain path in life, you're going to school, you get your degree, you get your good job based on your degree, and then you find yourself stuck. You've hit a ceiling, and for women that ceiling is even lower. um, and you find that you're not moving anywhere, you're not able to go out to dinner, you're not able to go to the movies, you're not able to do a lot of things. And then marriage comes along, and then the mortgage, and then you feel trapped, just like how Robert Kiyosaki's poor dad was feeling. And at the end of the day, what was happening is that he didn't have anything left over after he handed everything over to the government and to the bills and to the household and to the wife and to the children. So, and that was because he limited himself in what he can do with his professional degree. So I'm a professional engineer. I'm sure we've shared that with you. But I've chosen to use that degree to actually apply it to a different type of, in a different direction. So when we talk about, the degree, your professional degree, whether it's an engineer, whether you're an accountant, whether you are a doctor or lawyer, and in our last hangout last week, we talked about how if you're not leveraging your time, even being a doctor or a lawyer, you can feel trapped. You may be able to pay yourself higher because your degree demands a higher time wage, but you are still bound to time, right? So as an engineer, you are bound to either working for somebody or working for yourself. And either way, you, as we discussed last week, you are not leveraging anything to free up that time in order for you to have a better lifestyle. All right. So we were talking about Bernie and I, we were discussing, well, what does a quote unquote professional lifestyle look like? Well, that depends on where you are in life and who you are. So for me, it means having that freedom and time to be able to spend time with my kids, to be able to, let me just take this photo quickly, to be able to spend time with my kids, to be able to work on my business when I want to be able to meet with friends and family, to be able to do other volunteer activities. That's the professional lifestyle that I would like to have. I'd also like to be able to go out to dinner once in a while. I'd also be able like to go on vacation. That is what we mean by a professional lifestyle. So um and in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, you know, we talk about how his dad really was trapped. He was very trapped, and he couldn't get out of the situation that he was in because he didn't choose to basically put into practice rather than just take his degree and go and get a job. And for young people nowadays, you know, it's young mothers especially coming in, they're finding it very challenging where they were told that, you know, I needed to get a degree, I need to get a job, I need to climb that corporate ladder. Then all of a sudden, they're, and then all of a sudden, they're feeling like, okay, I can't advance, I can't do anything more than what this job is limiting me to do. So what do? They reach out and they try to do different things. Well, by accident, what happens is that you find yourself starting to apply whatever your degree was in. So, for example, we have a very good friend of ours in the Elite Marketing Pro system where her degree was actually in journalism. I believe it was English and then master's in journalism. And for a long time, she has 5 children, and for a long time, she was feeling like, you know, her job was going nowhere with her. So she came into Elite Marketing Pro. And at first, she came into Elite Marketing Pro to, you know, build a network marketing business. But then she realized that she could take her degree that she had in journalism and writing and actually create a business out of that. And sometimes when you have a professional degree, you don't see or you're not able to translate the opportunity into, and Bernie is now telling me that she's getting trouble connecting. All right, so she's still getting trouble connecting. But the what our friend was saying is that she was able now with a little knowledge to translate her degree of journalism into a business which started off on a very small platform, which I don't know if you know, Fiverr. And now she takes those projects, Fiverr projects, and then back ends people into higher paying projects. That was an opportunity that she would not have been able to see how to apply her professional degree had it not been for the additional knowledge that she got within the Elite Marketing Pro system. And the same thing applies with my professional degree. I am an engineer, and a lot of what I do is, well, industrial engineering, time study, time management, and all those type of things, productivity, process control, and all of those. And I've been able to take those and convert the knowledge of that into a business because people want to know and understand how they can properly manage their time, whether it be in the home for mothers, whether it be in their businesses, whether it be to help them manage their employees. These are things that only after seeing that this is a skill, knowledge that could be applied, then you're able to turn it into a business. And sometimes when you are in the mindset of a job and getting a professional job, you are not thinking about how can I apply this degree to a business. You know how you can apply it to a job description, but there are few times when people make that jump from applying it to a business versus the job description. All right, and that could be a challenge. All right, so in Robert Kiyosaki's book, he also talked about how his father wanted him to specialize. And specializing would get him a higher paid job. Well, as we said in the example, specializing does allow you to get a higher paid job, but it doesn't free up your time in any way. Until you learn to take knowledge and apply it to something that will allow you to increase your value and earn revenue, then getting additional knowledge is not really going to help you in any way, shape, or form. All right. Um, for example, doctors. How many years do doctors spend um, specializing? You know, it's like you spend 4 + 4 years, and then you have to go through um, residency and all of that stuff. And then after that, they ask you what you want to specialize in. It seems as if you're going to be in school for like close to 10 to 15 years. When do you apply that? Now, granted, as students, they're working. We have been attended to by many a student doctor. I myself had the horrible experience of being attended to a student doctor who actually pulled out her textbook while she was attending to me. So I was a little afraid, and I just walked out of the hospital right there. But the reality is, at least they get the opportunity to start applying. With engineering, it's not about getting the opportunity, it's about you being in a job and you actually following what your job description has told you to do. All right. So that is, you know, when it comes to specializing, don't see it necessarily as something that's so, you know, it has its benefits. When I look at specialists who go on to get their PhD, for example, all right, as a professor, and this was something that I had once admired, was, you know, trying to become a PhD, was that I saw after a while they had a lot of freedom. But what I didn't see was a lot of the work that they had to do in order to apply the knowledge. So again, we come back to that application, that even in the academic arena, the professors who have the most free time are actually the ones who have already started putting into practical use a lot of their book knowledge. And what that does is gives them additional value. So it's interesting how the greater value you have, you don't lose time. Contrary to popular belief, you don't lose time. What happens is that you actually gain more time because you are giving more value out there. A lot of these professors, because they've been able to take knowledge and apply them, they are now, you know, they can charge upwards of, you know, maybe 6 figures in order for them to just do a 1 hour lecture, and then they're free for the rest of the day. Or they do consulting. That's because they've taken knowledge and put it to an applicable use. All right, Bernie is still getting some challenges to get in. I'm just going to take off the camera for now so that we can see if we can get her in. But in a nutshell, to wrap up, we're going to wrap up just now if Bernie cannot get in after this session. But all right, it doesn't look as if we're going to have Bernie on today. And she was to email me her points, but I didn't receive anything as yet. Let's see, hold on. All right, so we're not going to have Bernie on today. All right, so again, that was, in a nutshell, you know, the key point that I want to leave with you all today is that when you're thinking of your professional degree, and as a caveat, I'm sorry, I didn't say this at the beginning. We are by no means saying don't go out there and get a degree. What we're saying is get a degree and then figure out how to make that, how to apply it to a business. Because when you get into the job situation, you yourself are not applying anything really. You may think you are in the beginning, but then after what you realize is that you're following instructions. In order to take what you learn and apply it, you need to be in a situation where you're asking questions and you have to find answers to other people's questions, finding solutions to other people's questions. All right. So thanks again for joining us today. You can find us on the our YouTube channel, Marketing Moms Trinidad, YouTube, or through Google Plus. This has been Hilary, and unfortunately, Bernie has wasn't able to join us today. But next week we have a special guest who's going to tie everything together for us next week. And as you know, we've been looking at Robert Kiyosaki's book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and there is a lot of mindset behind this. So that is what she's going to be coming and tying a bow, so to speak, on um, this month's topics, where we're going to be focusing on your audience as a business person, your audience, and the mindset that you need to have just to tie a bow onto this very fun month actually that we've been having with Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, again, this is Hilary, Marketing Moms Trinidad, representing Marketing Moms Trinidad today. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week, same time, same channel, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day. Bye now.